Some people have relied upon these sorts of tests to demonstrate relationships between brain size and intelligence. And here are some of these rather bizarre examples. So Rushton estimated brain size by taking the army records of 6,325 American soldiers' helmet size. Because he realised that every American soldier, once they've gone through training, is issued with a helmet. They go up to the quartermaster's store, the quartermaster gives them a helmet, they measure their head, give them a helmet that fits. So he's got on the army records all the head sizes of all the American soldiers. And he's also got an estimate of their intellectual ability, hasn't he? Well, no, he hasn't. But he does know if they're an officer or a private. So like Broca, he assumes that the officers are cleverer than the privates. And lo and behold, he finds that officers get given bigger helmets than the privates. Therefore, head size in officers is bigger, their intelligence is bigger, there's a relationship. He also finds that men get given bigger helmets than women. Well, they're cleverer too. That whites get given bigger helmets than blacks. He's ignoring all sorts of other contributions, of course. Maybe the officers get given bigger helmets because they're comfier, and the quartermaster knows this is not so. Maybe the men are bigger than the women. In fact, Peters points out that on those very same army records, he had the soldiers' height and weight. Obvious influences on brain size, and he simply didn't take that into account. If you do that, you're saying, the relationship vanishes. The second study Rushton did, he also found a relationship between intelligence and penis size. Obviously, he only did this in men, so he can't now report a sex difference. But penis size was measured with a piece of string. He asked his volunteers to take this piece of string and go behind that screen and tell me how big your penis is. So obviously there's no sort of demand effect here whereby some people might lie a little bit. And anyway, doesn't it rather depend on what state of arousal they were in? Some people might have enjoyed this task more than others and come up with a larger measurement. Who knows? I don't think Rushton does. Now, which way do you think this relationship goes? Big penis, big intelligence? Or little penis, big intelligence? Maybe I should just ask the women. In your experience, which way round does this relationship go? Definitely small penis, big intelligence, big penis, small intelligence. That's what Rushton found. And at the back of his mind is this myth that black men are really well hung and that they've got low intelligence because they've got big penises. He's seriously making this argument. The two sort of compensate for each other. But that's the sort of level of argumentation that's out there in this debate. What's going on? Why do these people want to make an association between sex and intelligence, between race and intelligence, and try and justify it in the terms of brain size? Well, they're interested in differences in IQ. There's a political reason for that. Herrnstein and Murray were arguing that these differences in IQ are just there. They're natural, and that we shouldn't spend money trying to remedy them. We shouldn't bother spending money improving the schools in poor areas and black areas in America because they're just inherently less able than the rich white kids. They were making a social and political argument. They were saying it's down to differences in their brains. Poor people are poor because they have less IQ, because their brains are different. Why are their brains different? It's genetic. Your brain size is driven by your genotype. It's written in your genes. That drives your intelligence. Poor people meet other poor people, have poor babies together. It's their genes mean that they've got not very clever children who grow up to have bad jobs and stay poor. Similarly, the argument for racial differences. Races tend to marry within race groups, their genes are perpetuated, they have a particular intellectual level, it's genetic. That's the argument that's underlying these studies. And it's known as genetic determinism. The idea that our behaviours are written in our genes.